What's up, y'all? I'm the Rank 1 Jeff, and here is the most comprehensive guide to Jeff that you will ever see. I'll go ahead and put my stats on screen to show that I'm not a fraud, and now that you know I'm the real deal, let's get into it. I will be talking throughout this video about Jeff's weaknesses, strengths, ability usage, playstyle, how to flank, all the best starting spots on all the maps for Jeff, the best ledges to run to, which ledges are insta-kills, characters you should fight and ones you shouldn't, everything Jeff ult is countered by, and everything Jeff ult counters. It's going to be a massive video, so I'm going to leave timestamps to all the segments in the description, and without further ado, let's get into it. I want to start by addressing Jeff's weaknesses. Knowing your character's weaknesses and being able to play around them is one of the most important things you can do. And I'm just going to say outright, Jeff is not a good character. Everything I'm about to say is backed up by the in-game statistics. He has the lowest healing output out of all of the support cast. He has the lowest win rate at 44%, meaning a Jeff being on your team lowers your chance of winning by 6%. That's a bit extreme. His bubble cooldown is too long just compared to every other character and how he uses them. He's got too long of a bubble cooldown. And believe it or not, his ult is incredibly bad. I will explain that more in a second. Jeff's healing output being so low is actually something we're going to have to play around. Because if our healing output is low, that means we're not as good of a heal bot as other characters. So what do we have to do? That means we're going to have to go on offense. A lot of this guide is going to explain how to safely get aggressive without throwing for your team. This could literally be taking an early flank and just getting a couple shots in to get 7% ult charge and then backing up so you can heal. Or it could be straight up going battle Jeff and just taking out all 6 on the team. It just depends on the situation. I'll be explaining that. Now, onto why the ult is bad. This is a crazy statement, and this is the number one thing people question me on, but I promise it's wise. So, I want you to think of a Bucky ult. Bucky ult has the potential to get all 6 team members in the game, right? He goes nuts, he gets his resets, he goes again. He kills all of them. But what is the number one thing a Bucky is scared of? It's a good support ult. If a Luna Snow ult pops, the Bucky's screwed. If a Cloak and Dagger ult pops, the Bucky's screwed. If a Mantis ult pops, the Bucky's screwed. Jeff being a support, what he has is he has a Bucky ult. It is a fight-winning ult. What the 3 meta supports right now, these 3, and in Loki, if he copies, have, is a game-saving ult. And the distinction is very important, because what will happen a lot is you go ahead and you grab 5, or you grab 4, you grab 3, you get a big ult, right? And you throw them all off the map. You're pushing a payload, it's 2 meters from making it in, 30 seconds left on the clock. You're like, okay, I win. This is my rank up game, I'm gonna get it. But the Luna Snow that survived is gonna pop her ult, and she's gonna go and she's gonna contest the cart for 12 straight seconds. Her entire team is gonna get back. All those ults you used to make that the 4v6 are now out, and you're just screwed because the enemy team has ults, and you lose the game. And it will become a very familiar feeling on Jeff, because what's going to happen is you'll have a Luna Jeff, the enemy team will have a Luna Cloak or a Luna Mantis, and both Lunas will pop their ult at the same time and be like, okay, perfect, Luna ults out, and then they pop a Cloak and Dagger, and the entire enemy team is immortal for the next 8 seconds, and your team just loses. And it's just because you simply don't have an ult akin to the others. And that's what makes Jeff ult weak. Now, in a bubble, on exclusively Jeff, his ult is his best piece of utility. But compared to all other supports, it is considered weak. Alright, enough with the doom and gloom though. I want to talk about what makes Jeff good. What are his strengths? So, to start out, the most important one. He is the most fun character in the game. He's mobile, he runs around, he just heals, he does some damage. Like, he is genuinely fun, and I would argue that that is incredibly important when it comes to choosing a character. But, logistically, his bubbles give him move speed, making him dang near unkillable. I have so many clips, I'll probably put one up on screen, of me getting dived where I will just sit there and I will bubble and I will swim away and I'll bubble again and I'll swim away, and they just can't kill you. You are so very immortal. His ult, even though it's the weakest of the support cast, is still incredibly strong. You can pick up as many as 6 and you can throw all of them off the map, and if that is the most fight-winning thing you can possibly do. And his mobility can be used to make him go more aggressive than all of the other supports, which is also incredibly useful. I'll give an example right here. Obviously, this is practice range, but if I get behind them early and I climb up this wall, okay, if I can even do it correctly. There we go. I climb up this wall I just have perfect splash damage down here, and I can still heal from up here. I'm not stopped from healing. My healing isn't limited, and I can just do damage back, which makes him very good. Let's get to how to use Jeff's abilities. I already covered it in his strengths a little bit, but for one, number one thing you're going to be doing, whenever you get low, you're going to be bubbling yourself. It heals for 100. It's incredibly useful. It also gives you move speed. You're walking out of a spot on a map, you bubble yourself, and you can use it to use his swim straight up to high ground. And again, I already covered why high ground is so good. But all of that, that's not too complicated. So what are some niche uses for his abilities? Well, there's one really major one with the bubble, and it's that when you collect it, it bops people away. This can be used incredibly interestingly. It is not common, however, it has been done before. Typically, when people contest me after throwing their teammates off the map, I will boop them with my bubble. And look, imagine that was the edge of the map. I just flung her off the edge of the map. You can kill people with the bubbles by throwing them off the edge of the map. Now, this isn't terribly common. A more common use is when you are fighting a melee DPS. I'll throw up a clip of it right now. You can bop them backward and walk back, making sure that you are not getting hit, and it keeps them out of range of you. It's a super interesting way to use his bubble. Here is everything that counters Jeffel, and there's a lot, so y'all are gonna be here for a while. Starting with Hulk transformation. Can't pick him up in that. I don't know why. Next up, Big Hulk with his shield. And this applies for everyone on his team that he shields. As if Hulk doesn't have enough counters, ulting transform also blocks the Jeff ult. Hulk does not like Jeff. All right, this is a really awkward counter, but Doctor Strange is dependent on frames. If it's a low frame rate Strange, you eat him every time. However, if it's a high frame rate one, he gets enough horizontal movement that he can dodge it. So, odd counter. Next up, we have Groot walls. If he places a wall in front of the ult, you just can't get him. It's so dumb. Venom has two ways to get out of it. First one is he swings out of it off of the audio cue. And the second one is he ults. And even better, he does damage to you as he comes back up. He's my ally though, so he can't right now. Mag can bubble Jeff ult, preventing him from being picked up. And Thor can dash out of it. Penny can also theoretically counter Jeff, and this happens a lot. Because when you ult, all of her little spiders instantly track to you, and you just die on the spot. Punisher has two ways of countering Jeff ult. One, he can place down his turret, and he's immune. He can also zipline out, as long as he does it when he hears the audio cue. And actually, I lied. He has three, because he can also use his ult, which also makes him immune to being picked up. Storm is an interesting counter, because while you can pick her up, throwing her off the map is damn near impossible, because she just flies out of it. Hela has a counter when she birds out of your ult. Black Panther, once again, every character with a dash, can dash straight out of your ult. Magic also has a dash out, conveniently enough. And if that wasn't annoying enough, she also has invulnerability. Squirrel Girl also has a counter if she uses both of her jumps. She manages to get high enough above it. Iron Man is in the same vein as Storm, where you can pick him up. However, when you go to throw him over the edge, he just flies, does not matter. Spider-Man has two counters. For one, he can grapple out of it. And for two, we don't have a team up right now, but if he has the Venom, his immunity allows him to also dodge it. Scarlet Witch can escape Jeff ult by using her invulnerability. Bucky, along with all the other characters with dashes, can dash out. Not only that, but Bucky ult functions the same as a Punisher turret, where he gets CC immunity. Star-Lord has a mechanic similar to fighting games, where he gets invincibility frames when he uses his dash. This can be used to counter Jeff ult. If you're not feeling that fancy though, you can genuinely just fly out. Namor can use his bubble to go immune and dodge Jeff ult. Psylocke, once again, looking at another dash, dashes straight out. As well as that, if the Psylocke is super scared, she can press her ult, and I cannot pick her up. As well as that, I die. As if every other dash counter in the game wasn't bad enough, Wolverine can also jump out of it. Not only that, he is another character that gets CC immunity when ulting, making it impossible for me to hit him. Yet again, another dash, Iron Fist, can kick out of the ult. He also, for some reason, unknown to man, can just straight up block it. Loki can go ahead and teleport to his clone, and I pick up his clone, leaving him alive. Big surprise, another character with dashes, Rocket, can also get out. Two ways for Cloak and Dagger to dodge. One, if they're on Cloak, they can just straight up cloak out, and I can't hit them. The second way is with their ult, where they also gain CC immunity and cannot be picked up. Luna Snow's ult also, once again, grants her CC immunity, meaning that what would have been one of the hardest counters in the game is now just useless. And then, as if Jeff didn't have enough enemies, he is his own biggest enemy, as when he dives underwater, he cannot be picked up. You are capable of ulting Thor while he's in the air, possibly saving your team, although Thor ult isn't that great, so whether you want to do that, I don't know. While Penny Parker is, in fact, a counter, believe it or not, while she's ulted, you can also counter her. You just have to be very, very careful with it, grabbing her specifically on the front of it so you don't get in the way of any spiders. Considering how oppressive Hawkeye is, it's not a bad idea to ult his ult either. This will hopefully prevent him from wiping your team, even though he'll probably do it about 10 seconds later. On the off chance that the magic is just absolutely terrible and doesn't know that she can use any of her dashes, you can actually eat her ult. However, I would not recommend trying this one, as chances are you're just gonna miss her and then instantly die. If the Scarlet Witch is low enough to the ground, you can in fact eat her ult, saving hopefully your entire team. In the same vein as magic, this is dodgeable. However, you are capable of eating a Star-Lord. You just have to hope that they're bad and they're not either a million years in the air or using their dash. Assuming Iron Fist doesn't have his block or his dash, you can eat him out of his ult. And finally, the one ult that I 110% approve of y'all always using your Jeff ult to counter. Whenever Mantis ults, you can very, very reliably pick her up. And this, while she's in you, will run her entire ult out, leaving her useless. I unfortunately do not have the resources currently, as I don't have 5 friends willing to sit here and die. However, a very good counter is when Adam Warlock ults, they spawn on 100 health, meaning if you eat them, the very instant they spawn, you can't actually kill them because they'll take more than 100 damage, as long as you hold on to them for the full 6 seconds. This entire section showing just how useless Jeff is against every cooldown in the game, and also how little counters he has, may have you wondering why I'm even presenting it. I'm trying to make Jeff sound good. Well, this is where the main skill of Jeff comes in, cooldown management. While Hulk Bubble is, in fact, a hard counter to your ult, if you just go ahead and wait until you see a Hulk Bubble, you can still manage to get 4 and get really high value ults. So when I show you all these counters, don't take it as, oh, my character's so bad I should swap off. Take it as, this is what I need to be looking out for. So if I see something on the enemy team, I will know that if they have that cooldown, I'm not going to Jeff ult them. And that will help make your ults 10 times more reliable. For characters you should fight and shouldn't fight, I'm going to give you just an easy overall blanket statement on this. You can fight literally whoever you want. However, some are less advisable than others. So let's start with the best ones to fight. Luna Snow gets bullied by you. She has very little self-heal, and her only self-defenses are freeze, which she cannot freeze you if you are underwater. So you can pretty much just sit there and pelt her down. Nothing she can do about it. Next up is Mantis. She has a little self-heal, but not a ton. What's scary is if they're good, they will hit their shots, so you will end up using a lot of bubbles. Cloak and Dagger, if you see her stupid like AoE circle of healing go down on the ground, you can kill her. Loki, you can shoot. You're not going to make much progress, but you can try. Same with Rocket. He won't kill you. You can't kill him. Adam Warlock, it's a trade-off. If he hits you with a really good right click, it's going to be tough. However, if he uses right click, I think it's pretty dang possible to pelt him down. Now for the DPS. Pretty much everyone in the DPS is a hazard to fight. You are going to have to play it carefully. The best is Black Widow, which is really uncommon. And the worst is, without a doubt, either Hawkeye or I would say probably Moon Knight. Moon Knight is incredibly scary. For people like Psylocke, where it's an intimidating 1v1, what you're going to want to do, you're just going to want to be very liberal with your bubbles. You want to just toss them out as you can. And with the tanks, the only person I would advise, I guess 2 people I would advise like actively shooting and trying for is Groot and Penny, because they're just such huge targets and they don't really have much self-sustain. Every other tank that you can fight is going to end up being a stall match where you sit there and you hit them and you hit them, and like you can poke them down, they'll poke you down, and no one will really ever die. It's a giant waste of time. Now for my favorite, which is the best ledges to use when throwing people off the map. This map, Tokyo, is so good. There are so many good ledges because all of the voids that I'm about to show you are insta-kill voids. What that means is typically I will ping it. There's a ledge, right? It starts here. There is a void somewhere down here. The kill box could be as far as right there. The voids on this map are up to like right here, which is almost parallel with the ledge. And what that does is characters like Thor that can thrust up, or Psylocke that can dash back, Hela that can bird back, they all do not have time to press the button, meaning it is a guaranteed kill, even if it's something obnoxious like that. This ledge right here, absolutely incredible. Always use it. When you're on second point, this ledge, I will say, always use the middle. If you go and try and throw them over there, sometimes they'll clip the rock and they can make it back up. This is another insta-kill ledge, and it's so easy to access. It is right near the fight. Do not use this ledge over here. I've seen people do it. Use this one. And on first point, this one's often overlooked because it's kind of just out of the way, but it's really close. There is a ledge back here, and you can access it from pretty much any point on this map, except for way over there when the point's in, but there's another ledge over there. This one is an insta-kill ledge, and I'm talking it is the shallowest insta-kill ledge in the game. The moment you walk over this thing, you will die, and it is just instant access. Always throw people here. Back on Tokyo, this is the convergence map. This one, not as great for Jeff ults. There's only one really good ledge that you can use. There's a ledge on all 3 points, which is better than some maps give us. However, most of them are hard to access. This one, though, this is good. It is right over there. And why it's good is basically no matter where the fight is, as long as you bubble yourself before you use your ult, you'll have time to access it. And even better, there's a health pack right here. So if you're being shot at while you're carrying your teammates over, or while you're carrying the enemies, not your teammates, do not be ulting your teammates, you can pick up the health pack, which will restore you to full. Now, the reason this ledge is so good is, one, there is an invisible barrier right here. It aligns here, which means if you throw them back here, they'll bounce back. That sounds bad, right? As long as you make it here and look straight down, one, it's an insta-kill, and two, they can't go too far out, which basically just means they hit a wall and go straight down. You ready? I'm going to jump off the map. Since it's the only one I'm going to show you. Wall there. I died 2 inches off the ground there. No one can escape this thing. I've never had anyone escape this. All right, I wanted to show this map because I see a lot of people use the wrong ledges on this one. There are 2 obvious ledges. I always see people go over here, and then I will see players come and try and throw people off the edge over here. This ledge is a never use. This ledge over here, also a never use. Pretty much no matter where you are, if you are close enough to use that ledge, then you are also close enough to use the one over here. And this one is a better insta-kill. The void is a lot lower on this one than it is on the other one. And then, why you don't use the ledge back here, this is the most uncommon. I've never seen anyone else use it. You don't use the ledge back here because there's one right here. Look, it's literally a pit, bro. It is designed for Jeff. Now, this one isn't an insta-kill. Expect some people to escape from it. But the odds of you managing to carry people from here all the way over to this ledge, and the issue with this ledge is you'll never make it to all the way on the wall. You'll make it to here where you can throw them, but there's another invisible wall right there. So if you throw them, they bounce right back on the map. You cannot make it over here. It is so far. But if you go to this one over here, you will always make this ledge. And even if you don't, you have an angle right here. It's not easy, but you can at least try and throw them over there, and there's no invisible wall, which makes it a better bet than the other one. Apologies for this clip. I recorded it out of turn, so my voiceover was weird. I'm adding a voiceover after. Ignore the face cam. Basically what I was saying, everyone always uses this ledge, but that's improper because there is a much better ledge right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this Luna Snow over here. And then after I grab her, come look. There is a ledge right here. It is closer to an insta-kill ledge. The void is lower, and you don't have to carry him as far, making it much more advantageous. All right, here is where the video is just going to kind of become a brick of a video. I am going to show you all of the spots that you should be starting on Jeff. Every map, and it's just going to be fully. I'm going to explain why you do it. It's going to be a little bit. So what I would recommend, if you don't feel like sitting down and watching 20 minutes of a guy just talking about a map, I want y'all to, as you're playing your game, when you see a map load in, come back, click on the time marker, find the map that you're playing so you know what to do. All right, we're going to pretend we're on attack here. We are going to go up. We swim up here, and here's what I want you to do. You're going to play around this corner, wait for the gates to open. There is an opening over there. When the gates open, if you don't see anyone come out, you're going to come right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bubble up, dive out, and get back to your team over here. That's going to get you 10% ult charge every time. Now, let's say that we were attacking like we are. You come out of that door. Bubble yourself. You're just going to sit here and wiggle all the way over here. Climb. If there's anyone up here, you can immediately take the fight. If there's no one, you keep your swim. You go back here. You shoot at the supports. You get 5, 6 shots. Duck back. shoot over here a little bit, redirect them, come back over here, shoot. And by this time, your team will be low and you go back to fire hosing them. On the next point, after you make it through, there are a couple things you can do. There's this window up here, which you can break. And you can crawl up. And you just have prime real estate on all of them. Over here, you can also do the same thing if you don't want to be over there. Climb up this side. Just sit here, chip from here. Full healing to your teammates. That's the advantage here. You have full healing access on your teammates. And those spots, I forgot to mention, work for both attack and defense. It just depends where they're at. All right, this point, the worst. I hate this point with a passion because it's just awful to play. You can play around this corner when they first get through, making sure you got cover. You can get into it. Back here is another good one. You just sit and chip. You're not going to be flanking on this point. It just never happens. You can be up here, sitting, flanking, and chip. If you are on attack, I will say crawling up this and jumping the person up here can prove quite useful. I would recommend doing it. Just be very careful to get out. Other than that, this last point, garbage. For this map, it is parallel on both sides. So typically what I do, I swim under here. Where did my bubble go? I swim under here and I just immediately look. There will always be a person in that window that you can maybe get one shot off at the same timing I did, and there'll be people up here. This one is sketch as hell. You climb up, you shoot them as you go down, and then you immediately fucking get out. You can also flank up here on this window, get behind them. Sometimes there'll be people over here that you can fight and just immediately drop. And you basically just weave between those 2 points. If you leave between those 2 points, you'll be in the money. All right, for this point, you just open early, and this one is honestly probably my favorite. Also, I put an AI bot in here so I could actually see the next map. Basically, come around over here. There'll always be enemies over here. You can shoot. If they're a little slow, you shoot them back here. For the most part, I wouldn't play too aggressive, but the unique thing about this map is the flank is so very accessible that you can do it all the time. If it is at 50% and I'm over here healing my teammate, keeping them alive, I can literally at any random given point, if I see moment of downtime, go back here, shoot it. Also, rockets, like placing the res here, and if it'll let me ping it, right here. All right. So you can go, you can insta break the rocket res and get a little bit of chip damage, and it's so fast to get back. I just swim right back and I am here with my team. For throne room, there are a few ways that you can play it. You can either swim main or you can swim down here. I normally go with my team. I swim main, you head around right, you just insta poke from right here. There's really good cover here, and it's literally a corner's turn away from being healed again. If you choose to go to the secondary level, truthfully, there's not much for you here. If they come over there, you can kind of shoot from here, weave in and out. There's not a flank. If they go up top, if you are really feeling it, I mean really, I've sometimes climbed up this wall and played from right here. This can be interesting, but it's a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. And pretty much for the other side over here, the same thing applies. You can get some early chip down here. You can maybe, if someone peeks, look over there, but there's just not a lot for you. But regardless of there not being a lot, always go with your team. If your team wants to rush down here, you go with them because you're not going to end them. For Tokyo, I'm going to be showing you, oh my god, I love this map. There are just so many crack addict things you can do. First thing, climb this wall, break that. So I don't know why I dropped down, it's just an old habit. Because Anyway, you get up here, you have a perfect view of this spawn door. You can shoot through this, it's so unexpected. You get 4 shots, get 10% ult charge, and you get out. After you get out, while holding this point, you never have to move from up here, man. You can break this wall sometimes, and there'll be a good viewport through it after everything falls. I'm not going to do that. Sit up here, spam this corner, spam right here. If they're on point, spam down here. You've got full healing access on your team the entire time. If you get dove, just play with it. What you can do, you can use your bubble boop mechanic to boop them off. If that doesn't work, just jump down. They'll follow you down. You jump right back up. Just toy with them. If they make it through first point, this room, beautiful. Sit, shoot here if they're over there. Shoot here if they're over there. You can play on this ledge. Basically just maintain high ground. You're abusing your splash damage, really. If they make it around the corner, pretty much the same thing. Sit here, shoot, weave in and out. You can shoot from over here. Like, it's all just so high access. I don't know how else to put it. And then over here, on last point, positions I typically play over here. Not much flanking, not much weaving in and out behind them. All the way back here with my team. This one, a lot harder to flank. You can go for some stuff. If you crawl up here, you can play this rooftop, which could be a lot of fun, I will say. And the last point, probably behind this sign. That one, you just play behind a pillar. Nothing too complicated. But it's all really cool. It's a very good map for Jeff. Alright, we're on attack now. I exit the spawn doors, and there are two things you can do. The first one I'm going to show you, this is the crack addict entry. You literally bubble, and you just sit here and you wiggle while the entire enemy team shoots at you. And you go up, and you bubble, and you drop on it. And now you just sit here and you harass them. And they all look at you, and your team can just sprint through the choke. Now, if you're not so confident in yourself, you're like, maybe that's a bad idea, which granted, I have died on it. It's not always a great idea. You come over here, climb this wall, and there is access to high ground right here. That one's just a little slower, and it doesn't get as much attention on you. Unironically, the point of pushing through here is to get attention on you. Because if they are all looking at you, it means they are not looking at your team, meaning they can push through easier. The one other spot you can go, and this works for both sides, is you can climb up here, and you can sometimes play up here. It is just not quite as powerful as there. It's situational, is what I'll say, but typically over there is better. And then for the rest of attack, all of the spots I showed before, you use them just inverse. Okay, for the push map on Tokyo Spider Islands, this one is enjoyable, but there's a lot of specifics about it. For one, this building, you have to get the one with the sign. It's the best place to start. You go, but you have to crawl on that sign, otherwise that will not work. And you go up here, and look. Right here, you can sit here, and you can just spam right where they walk out. And if you dive, your fin is unviewable. You cannot see it. It is the most obnoxious thing. You can just sit here until someone comes and pushes you, or you accidentally break stuff down like that. Bad news, you got pushed back a little bit. We're now in this corner, right? We can no longer play the rooftop. Come up here, harass from right here. This one is a quick. You don't sit and you don't do 8 shots, you do 4 shots. You get out, you get back to your team. You can also go all the way back here. This is another good angle. It does about the same thing. You just don't have high ground, so you have to hit your shots. And then, finally, if you try really, really hard, you can get up here. And you can shoot from up here. That's about all of the defense spots on first point. Actually, I lied. Sorry, there's one more. Up here. This is really good for Jeff, too. Basically, just play all the rooftops. You'll find a good spot depending on where the enemies are positioned. Back here, there are a couple spots you can play. Up here, I love going up here. And as they push through, I mean, for one, you can literally look directly into their spawn, right? The spawn doors transfer to here. You sit, you shoot them. Or if they're already through, you sit and you shoot them here. This is a very, very, like, hard to deal with harass spot. Same with right here. If your team has already been pushed too far back and you can't manage to get on that flank angle, play with this building. This building, even though there are windows right now, is typically normally entirely destructed. You can sit here, you can play with this pole in the center, and you can just weave back and forth. And worst case scenario, you are playing up here. If it is any further, man, you're just screwed. Don't let it get that far. Alright, they capped third point. What do we do now? We play with this doorway. It's a little hard, there's a tree in the way, but that also makes it hard for them to hit you. Or, you could play back here, around this rock, shooting back. The good spot up here. But this one's really common, so you will be taking a lot of fire. You'll be noticed very quickly. And then, can I wall climb? There we go. And then, there is a spot over here that you can play with, and that is all of defense. Okay, I'm on attack now. What do? This is our spawn doors. What I always do, I sprint out, I bubble, and I head straight through here. Sometimes Penny Parkers will place mines here. That's the one thing you have to watch for. If not, sit here, harass, break the Penny Gen. Penny's a very common pick on this map. Or if you're feeling really bold, after you take those shots and continue going behind, climb up this building. Sometimes there are people playing on top of it. You kill the person on top, or you just shoot down on them. And again, full healing access to your team. Don't stay here for too long, though. You will eventually get dove. Once I dive back to my team after my little opening play, what I will do is, when they are all safe, I'll go back here and I will harass from this angle, or up here. Oh, I missed it. Don't be doing that. Or this angle. You can just sit, you shoot. This wall is indestructible as far as I know, so you cannot break it. Second point, what I will do, I will bubble myself to get a little move speed, and I will come up here. You can harass the enemy from right here. From right here, just really playing high ground. And then the person that plays up here, a lot of times you can crawl up here and you can just kill them from here. Third point, there's not too much magic to this. I personally have never done this. However, it is something I have seen. You can bounce up here And dude, if you get back here, I would be pissed if I was the enemy team. What the hell is the enemy Jeff doing back here? You know what I'm saying? But more likely than not, what's gonna happen, you're gonna walk through and you are going to be over here and you're just gonna harass from this doorway. Again, this one a lot harder. No really magical flank angles. You just gotta sit and harass. For Wakanda, map is mirrored. So what I always do, I just bubble myself out of spawn, keeping my move speed up. There is a nice little angle over here that you can swim right up. Hey, look, Bot Luna Snow met at me over here. Sorry, buddy, you're not my concern. You can come, you harass over here. If you meet him head on, harass, kind of play this doorway, play back here. Everything will be okay. And then you can kind of do the same thing on the other side. I wouldn't really recommend this, but if you just feel the need, if you ever walk the wrong side or feel the need to play over here, these gens, they're pretty good. I don't think you can break this. You can't actually break it. I lied. So you can sit and you can harass, and then you can get back to your team pretty easily. But this map is fairly uninteresting. I'm gonna be honest. You'd mainly just play on the side a little bit, spray your team, shoot the enemy. Wakanda's second point is significantly more interactive and interesting. For one, the moment you come through these doors, fight always happens here. Just sit and spam, right? Enemy Luna Snow's over there showing me. It's the bot, and it still shows. After that, you can come over here. Okay, I suck. Bounce pad up, and there's just high ground. You sit here and you harass with your splash. You've got a good view of your team. You can come over here because other people do this. You can harass over here while your team fights under if they don't want to move out to point. And then the map moves, so I can't currently show it. But normally there is a route just through there that you can go and deal with. If you are trying to make high ground, if I remember correctly, you can climb up this wall and you can kill the person on high ground. The Hella that's being an obnoxious asshole, just sitting there, pelting your team, you jump up here and you challenge her. You are the one that is going to use your mobility to get the people out of the spots that you can't handle. All right, for Wakanda, last point, this one is going to be a case of go with your team. There are two angles. Honestly, I find up here preferable because the splash damage on this doorway is really good. But if your team chooses to go over here, you are to go with them. You do not abandon your team. You can sit here and you can poke from here. You can poke from here. If they're on point, sometimes you can play up here. I'm not typically a fan of it because these walls will go up and it makes it really hard to access. This is another just very uninteresting point. It's just linear, not much flanking to be done. The Wakanda push map is significantly better for you. What I like to do when I open, I climb up and I sit here. I pelt this doorway or this one, depending on which one they come out. 4 shots, splash damage everyone. This gets you like 15% ult. It's more than the 10 you normally get. After that, there's a couple places you can play. You can play up here to heal your team, maybe get a little bit of chip. This one's not the most accessible. It's not my favorite. I typically go and I play up here. I hit here, I heal. But this one is much more dynamic. Sometimes I'll just straight up play here and harass. You can get up on this bowl of plants and harass. And that one's not very healing. You gotta get back quick. You can sit here and you can harass while they walk in the doorway. Just everything is constantly moving on this one. I, one of these days, need to go and do like an in-depth view on how this map is played because there's just so much to it and it's so easy to get split from your team that I would consider this probably the hardest map to hold. Unfortunately, after first point, things get a lot more uninteresting. Sometimes you can climb this wall. They spawn over here and typically walk through here, so you can hit here. You can hit here. Just play this high ground. If it starts pushing around the corner, that is when I would say go play behind your team. You can, oh, I messed it up. You can get up here, play from here sometimes. Not my favorite because it's a little hard to look back in here and still use cover, but you can do it. And then, of course, up here, use this wall, crawl up it, and you can harass from high ground. This one is a lot better. However, your team typically plays under you, so healing access will be a little hard. And the third point, back here, there's 2 good spots. What I do is I play up here, harass up here. If it pushes back, I push back. I harass over here. And if it goes any farther, you can sometimes harass from over here or over here. But honestly, those are situational. I wouldn't use them too much. Now we're on attack. What do? You bubble yourself out of spawn and you head immediately right. This pole is my lifeblood. I crawl up it. I get up top. And I shoot the guy up here if there is one. If not, I just sit here. I can test high ground. I can test over here. I can test over here. Can't stay on it for too long, otherwise your team will die. But if your team is dying, you drop down, you heal them over here. Hopefully, they're over here. If they're not over here, man, it's gonna be sad. Try and direct them over here. But if not, if they're really playing over here, you can heal, you can bubble yourself to get over here faster, and you can harass from here and here, and then kind of turn around to heal them. It's just, this right here is a little too open. I much prefer over there, if I'm being 100% honest. Another thing you can do, actually, I forgot to show this. If you're over here, and you're just like, my team is doing nothing, supports oftentimes play over here. You drop on them, and you just kill them. And it's really good for Jeff ult, because there's a ledge right there. After that point, you can, once again, abuse the high ground up here. I'm not going to show it again. You already saw it. You can crawl through this building. Same doorway, same high ground up here. This one is a little different access route, so I'll show it. It's a lot more useful on attack here, and then same doorways on attack. Just on inverse. I'm not going to lie. This map, if you get it, swap off Jeff. Don't do what I did. I chose to OTP Jeff. I'm literally, like, in my mind, not allowed to swap off. There is nothing good on this map. There isn't a good angle. There isn't a good ledge. There's one ledge in the game, and it's over there, and it's next to never accessible. And then everywhere else, there's just nothing. There's no flank angles. There's no good high ground to play. There's no good ledges. I included this map just so you can know not to play Jeff on it. All right, comparatively to Clintar, that garbage map, this map actually has a lot for you. Typically when you start, some people don't know this actually, you can break this door if you shoot it enough. I will break that door, and I will just crawl up the side, and the enemy will also have their door broken, and I will just sit and shoot down at them. Hold on, let me open the door so you can see. You sit and you shoot down on them. The moment that starts failing, if your teammates need healing, you turn around, you heal, and you head over to high ground over here. And you sit and you contest on high ground, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Other than that, when this is, again, situational. Luna, get out of here. Oh my god, I'm about to lose to a bot, Luna. Alright. If they are dead, what you can do, crawl up high ground, and this is like pre-fight damage, right? You get over here, you poke him down with damage. You do not stay on this angle. This is for your 10% ult charge, and you dip out. Sometimes, if you're feeling really spicy, you can come over here and do the same thing. It just depends, really, on your mood. Other than that, that's about the most interesting thing this map has to offer. For the second point, map is mirrored once again. What I like to do, team typically goes down here. What I do, I play high ground. You can test the enemy high ground. You can shoot here, you can shoot here. Heal your team here, heal your team here. It's really free. The other spot that you can go, you can come over here, and you can climb up on high ground, and it's the same thing. Everything is just so open, it's so free. You can poke from high ground. You are a little more vulnerable than you would be normally, so if you want to poke from over here, you can. All right, last point out of all of the maps. This one I like a lot because there's an instant flank angle. You bubble yourself out of spawn, and you head through here. All of this is so covered, and look how beautiful this is. Instant access to the enemy team right here, and if for whatever reason they're really slow, right here. I will literally sit here and challenge this angle and just weave back and forth my bubbles and staying alive for like 20 straight shots before I ever head back. And you can also do it from here. That's just beautiful. And your entire team will either be here or over here, and you can just heal them from up here. You don't really have a worry in the world, the support, to try and play behind this wall. That's normally, like, you know, really safe spot, and you're just killing them. It is just a beautiful, beautiful map.